Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to address what to do and why it might be happening when the men that are coming into your life who are courting you, who seem to be attracted to you, but you're not attracted to them, why this is happening and what to do about it. So, I'm going to expose some of the collective programming that has affected both men and women and really led to why the world is the way it is these days with the dating culture, with relationships, divorce rates, um, casual sex, all of these things. So we will dive in. Um, where I want to begin is just the scenario of putting I want you to think about times in your life where or maybe currently where you feel that like let's say a man is interested in pursuing you or comes up to you and wants your number or wants to take you on a date and you might feel I know I used to feel this way in the past is that this person that's in front of me is a somehow because they're expressing interest in me, that means that they're a reflection of my worth and my value. And I'm going to be a little bit hardcore in this video, and I'm not here to be like pleasing, but just be kind of cut and dry and honest about this kind of scenario. So, in our history, in the past, um, for many centuries, in order in order for a man to really truly be a man, to be considered a man, to have value in society, to be, he had to work and provide and protect. He had to actually be a man. um, and he was driven to do that because, well, that was part of the culture and the programming, but also women and the feminine, having a wife, sex was not something that was as available and accessible as it is these days. It was usually protected through marriage. Of course, I think there's always been times in our history where there's places sex was like free or accessible, but for the most part, quality women were shielded and protected by their families and the culture and societies. Um, what's happened over the years is a degeneracy of the woman, the body, the female body, sex, and the heart, and what is sacred. So these days, as you can tell, sex and sensuality and the female, that it's all been inverted, and women have been programmed to give that essence and that energy away for free. And not only to give it away for free, but to basically, for it's inverted, it's become so inverted where now what used to be rare, which was sex and being able to access a woman and her heart, body, everything, energy, that used to be what's rare, and you had to work for that. But slowly, actually not slowly, but pretty quickly in just a few generations, what that was sacred is now competing for male attention and competing for and the way that competition is happening is by exposing the body, sharing, revealing the body online and out in the world, having sex before marriage, having casual sex, having many sexual partners. Chasing men is a form of this, begging for a man's attention, giving your heart to a man before he's really given his life to you through marriage. All of these things are actually like they're the fruits of this cultural programming that has been implanted in the feminine and man. But specifically, we're talking about how this has happened to women. And so, with that programming, as women, as as sex has become more and more accessible, and sensuality and like that energy is free, it's in some ways like lost its value. It can't ever really lose its value on a spiritual level, like the true sacred, like pure feminine heart can like, or in man and woman, just pure energy can never lose its value. But the way we have related to sexuality on the earth these days, and the programming has manipulated this so much and exploited and inverted it. Anyway, so now women compete for men's attention. And it's completely opposite. Okay, so then let's go back to the scenario where, let's say, a guy who you're not attracted to, you're not interested in him. He comes up to you and he's expressing interest. And you may have this flicker of feeling, many feelings. It could be a feeling of, is this person a reflection? And I don't mean to be judgmental, but I'm just going to be real. So sometimes what can happen is you feel this feeling of like ick, because it's like, okay, is this person a reflection of my worth? If this person is showing interest in me, is that like the level that I'm supposed to go toward? That can be an uncomfortable feeling. Then there's programming around being pleasing to everyone. And basically, like, we are not taught as women from an early age to conceal and protect the heart and the body. We're trained to give our love and heart energy and access to us, attention, everything for free, open to everyone. So then there's a guilt when, let's say, you don't really want to give your attention or anything to that man. There's a guilt because the programming has programmed you to give for free. So that's inverted. Another thing that might happen is you override your own ick and you feel like, well, I should give this person a chance. If they're showing interest in me, like, I should give them a chance. This is what I'm going to argue and challenge you to shift into. And this might feel very relieving to you. And it might not sound very nice, and that's okay. I'm here to offer a different perspective that's jarring, and it's jarring because it's different than what we've been programmed with. It's a different conditioning and programming. It's different than what's been normalized. But I would argue it is more healthy and more aligned. So, as a woman, if you can actually regain the self-trust of your discernment and being able to trust your ability to judge whether this person is worth your time, attention, and energy, and override that impulse to give yourself freely and reenact the power and ability to have boundaries, hold the line, not give access to yourself for free, and be a little bit unapologetic about it. We can do this in a way that's not icy cold and unkind and mean. But even if you do lean a little bit into the iciness and the coldness, for many of you, soft, gentle, empathic women, that can be a part of that journey of coming back into balance, where you get to actually learn how to feel comfortable. If you are a little bit edgy and you aren't just soft and nice and sweet to every single person that wants your eye contact or your like care and attention, you don't owe it to anyone. So what I would argue is, if your body is having resistance to the man that's standing in front of you, wanting your attention, time, number, taking you on a date, whatever it is, and your body is having ick, resistance, repulsion, whatever it is, you're very likely reading the situation correctly and properly. And very likely, because what's happened is, when sex has been programmed to be free now, it's lost its value. There's an expectation. What that's caused for men is there's no reason for them to actually step up and become providers and protectors. There's no reason for them to work really hard. And this isn't every man, obviously. There's many, 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 many incredible, powerful, incredible men. But we can see what's happened to the collective and to the masses. So men that could have been in amazing husbands and fathers and providers, protectors, there's no reason for them to step up into their potential, because they can have sex for free. They don't have to treat women correctly, because there's many women that will accept poor treatment. They can watch porn for however long they want. It's everything that used to drive a man. Because it's handed to them on a platter. It's There's no reason to go anywhere. There's no reason to rise and evolve and become empowered human beings, to step into their potential. Meanwhile, many women are internalizing what feels like rejection of the kinds of men that they want. And they in turn, well, sometimes go in two directions. Sometimes it can look like playing the game of competing for the man. That can mean using their body to, flash their signal. And it's kind of like driving a man. It's kind of like the equivalent of a man driving a nice car. It's like a tool. We've been trained to use the tool of our body and sensuality to um, signal our worth and our power. But in doing so, we're actually degrading ourselves. We may, it could be casual sex before marriage. When you're giving away this most sacred, precious thing, even though there's not a commitment of equal value coming back at you. And that's another thing that can happen. Or on the other side of things, that can simultaneously be happening, and you're doing this inner work to become like the most beautiful, strong, healed woman that you can possibly be, and heal all of your trauma and do all this stuff. And you're just actually becoming an even more evolved and empowered, beautiful woman. Meanwhile, and then it's like when you are then out in the world dating and you're not being met with that same level of potency in your masculine counterpart, it's you can still internalize that and think that there's still something wrong with you. You're still not doing enough work. This is why I said, just because you've done the work, it doesn't mean it's enough to attract like the ultimate man. Because at the end of the day, the work ends up being handing the responsibility that's not yours back to the masculine, back to the man. It's not taking what's yours. It's not being codependently, empathically tied up and making it easier for man to access you. It's actually letting go of that, handing that responsibility back onto him, and saying, actually, I'm good. I don't need to do anything more. I have never needed to do anything to prove myself to you. In fact, it's your job to prove yourself to me. And that begins to reverse and from inversion to alignment. That's the proper orientation that women really need to get in at this time. So here's the thing. We're too far gone for the majority of women to do this. Most women are giving their access to men for free. Most women are having sex before marriage. Most women are wearing scandalous and revealing clothes, wearing clothes that were appropriate, not even appropriate, and definitely not appropriate in their 20s, but like that forever youthful, never truly poised or composed. And anyway, they never really grow up, and they just keep like that eternal girl. Anyway, it's a little bit of a tangent. So I forgot what I was going with that. Anyway, they don't. Yeah. So let's get back to this. If you have men that are coming into your life and wanting your attention and your body is repulsed by it, this is the shift that can happen, where you can still handle that situation with poise, elegance, grace, and beauty. And this is how to do it. So the first thing is to stop bulldozing yourself into overriding your feelings. The first step is to trust that if you have a feeling of resistance and rejection to that man that stands before you, you're likely picking it up correctly. And there is no reason you should give this person a chance. And by not giving this person a chance, you're actually doing the very best thing for him and the society, because you are a high caliber, evolved, elevated, beautiful woman. And the last thing we need is for that elevation to drop down to a level that is not evolved. We have to stay at that level, even if it means being single for who knows how long, because, but this is what happens. You don't actually, that won't happen, because when you really, really master this, you won't attract that anymore. Or when you do, it doesn't have the same, I'll explain this. Okay. So you maintain that, you don't let that person's interest in you define your worth. I know a lot of women struggle with this. It's like there's an incredible ick factor, because they're letting it mean something about their value, that person's interested in them. It doesn't mean anything about your value. It's actually quite irresponsible, not accountable, and inappropriate that boy, likely guy, whoever it is even approaching you. It's a reflection of how programmed men have been to expect that quality women are just going to give their attention to them for free. Okay? So I'm sorry if this sounds harsh. And I am not, if you've been following my content for a while, Elevated Woman is pro man, masculine, but just as we're here to call women to their highest, we're also here to call men to their highest, which means not being codependent with the BS, not, being afraid to call things out, not from a place that's like harsh and like feminist, but from a place of like, you can do better. You have the capacity to be kingly and warrior level, true masculine, strong, empowered, capable. I believe in that. I see that in you. But I'm not going to lower myself to merge with you when you're not that. And when we get to that space, it's incredibly, it's loving, it's elegant, it's composed, it's respectable, it's self-respecting, it's respecting to the other person. But you have to be able to not be codependent. You have to be able to not be afraid to be displeasing. Again, mastery level will allow you to do this in such a way where it might feel a little bit like rejection from the man, but it's kind of like it doesn't demean or degrade them. It's more of a, wow, I really respect that woman type of way. And that's the difference between like feminist empowerment, which is degrading and demeaning and tries to pull man off of his throne, and make him small and weak and invert his powers. Whereas what we're doing over here is not that at all. It's calling him to that throne. It's saying, you belong up here. You belong at this level of um of leadership and empowerment. I believe in that for you. And so what's in the gap? Like, I'm not going to lower to that level. No way. So if you want access, you get to come here, but the way in which you do that, there's all these things that, you can learn to master that in a graceful, elegant way. Okay. So, I'll talk about, actually, we'll finish the story in just a second. So if you are interested if this is like resonating with you and it's pricking your ears and you feel drawn in and you're like, okay, like this feels and sounds different than what I've heard, and it's intriguing to you, and something's calling to you in it. I have a lot more on this, and this is really like one of the directions that Elevated Woman is going is we're working on elite feminine frequencies. We're working on sophistication, poise, elegance, nobility, honor, and reactivating and instilling these timeless frequencies and ways of being back into this world and into the woman. And whether or not you see it doesn't mean you can't be it now. When you learn these ancient ways of being, these noble, honorable ways of being, you will become even more rare than you likely already are if you're on this channel. Just because the women, it's not that we're okay. I don't want to say like that doesn't sound very humble, but I'm just saying most of my clients will resonate with identifying with rare on some level just because you are. There's a level of rejection of the world that you may feel and a need to go in and clear things out and heal and all these things. And all of that's good. But there's a next level for the highly sensitive, empathic, and spiritual woman. And that is to actually get back out into the world and learn how to hold all of that energy that you've cultivated, to um, embody the healing that you've done and bring it out into the world in a mature, sophisticated, new way. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Okay, so if you are interested in this, I put a link to my academy, my finishing school. It's called the Academy of Allure, and it's a modern day finishing school for unforgettable women. If you don't know what a finishing school is, it's a school of grace, basically, of refinement, where women would learn etiquette, culture, language, manners, and it's about becoming that sophisticated, refined woman. So it's a bit of a modern twist. We work with style, we work with symbolism, we do inner work, but it's a different flavor. It's not so deep and heavy and like energetic. It's what's balancing for you if you've done a lot of that already. So it's yeah. So let me get back to just finishing up this like big metaphor that we're working with here. Let me think. So, main points. If you've had the experience of a man coming up to you and you have ick, trust it. See if you've had a pattern of overriding that ick, bulldozing your intuition, your feelings, your knowledge, your body wisdom. Notice if you had a pattern of bulldozing that and begin to get behind what your body is communicating. Recognize that the body is our mind and subconscious can absorb the programming, but in my opinion, the body never does. The body is still attuned to congruency and order. And so when we let things that are disorderly into our life, it creates chaos in the body because we're trying to seek this harmony between body, mind, soul, conscious mind, subconscious mind. In my opinion, I don't know, this is kind of just coming to me as an example. So that being said, your body may have resistance to this and repulsion, but you might override that through your thoughts and through your programming, what you think you should allow and accept. So I would challenge you to work on that and see if you can begin to shift that and give yourself permission to not be accepting of it, to recognize that this isn't a reflection of your worth. It's actually inappropriate because he likely does not have what it takes to court and to take care of a woman like you. Okay, when you end up doing this and you master that moment of no thank you in a very graceful, noble, dignified, loving way, actually, you don't make it mean anything about yourself. You set him off to self-reflect and realize, maybe maybe I should up level if I want to be with a woman like her. So that's good. I want you to be instilled with this empowerment that is the woman that you are. You don't have to identify as a woman that can't get a powerful man at all. No, in fact, the reason you probably feel that way, if you do, is because you've been considering a level of partnership that's not at the level you're at all. Okay. So when you finally make the shift and your body adjusts and you realize, oh, like I've been trying to feel worthy of what I want all this time, And yet I've been trying to fit in something that's not actually worthy of me. Not that they're not worthy, period. It's just they haven't actually done the work to become a man that matches the caliber of woman that you are. Then it's no longer a charged issue. You're out in the world and you send out, in many ways, a different signal. You do become more rare. You are a bit more refined and elevated, and in some ways that might feel like, will I, are there people at this level? But what you'll find is that the people that you are attracting and that are coming into your life, pursuing you, courting you, dating you, marrying you, your husband, is finally at a level that matches that capacity. Because there are incredible men out there that have done this work and have rejected the platter of free sex and, lowered feminine value. And they've said, no, I don't want that. I want quality. I want truth. I want refinement. I want what's rare. So I'm going to become rare myself. I've seen through this programming, this conditioning, this agenda, and I don't want anything to do with it. So if you want that, you have to be willing to say no to anything that isn't that, even if it means being single, even if it means being alone for who knows how long. Because at the end of the day, when you choose this out of integrity and self-respect and respect for God and respect for what's true and aligned, you're not doing it to get an outcome. You're doing it because it's true and it's integrous. And that will take you through, and that will be enough strength to, simply holding the principle and holding values is what will help you in that process. So I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm going to close out there. If you are interested in the Academy of Allure, where we master all of this and more: sophistication, allure, elegance, etiquette, we work with the archetypes, all to become the most refined and elite version of yourself you can possibly be, then I would invite you to click the link in the description, and there's an application through that page that you can fill out. All right, sending so much love. Talk to you soon.